Hello everyone, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks preview video, and today we are going to have a look at the Rinoceronte, the tier 10 Italian heavy tank. And in today's video, well, we got a lot to discuss because it is obviously a new tank, and let's just jump right in. Because, as we already know, it's a 490 alpha gun with 268mm of penetration. We now also know it has 310mm of heat and a hash round with 127mm of penetration and 640 damage. The reload times are 20, 17 and 14.7 seconds. It has 3 seconds intergrip reload and 3 rounds per clip. This makes this tank have a burst of 1470 in just 6 seconds. This is something the Progetto can just dream about. Not only does the Progetto have longer to clip, but he also has less clip potential. 1.5 seconds longer clip time with 30 damage less. That is significant. Sure, it is not as quick as the clip of the Kranwagen, which wastes its rounds in 5.5 seconds. But then again, can we really say that this is a big difference when the Kranwagen deals around 150 damage less in a clip? You know, the armor-piercing rounds are 1,468 meters per second fast, where meanwhile the heats are just 1,173 meters per second. The heads, they are pretty slow, so we don't really care about them. But now, I already had a little bit of discussion about the Rinoceronte, and well, it has a very long base reload time. Again, 20, 17 and 14.7. Comparing it to the 277 and the WZ-111, you can see one reloads in 12.5 seconds, another one in 11.2 seconds. Yep, and those two tanks can use tank gun rammer, while you, as the Rinoceronte, can't. Just keep that in mind. Now, the DPM comes down to 2000 base if you are not bursting at all, if you're just using those 14.7 seconds reload time. However, to get there, you have around a 51 second reload time to just get there, which is significant. So in the beginning of the game, you will have quite a bit of issue to just have all those rounds prepared. There's also something like the Progetto can and sometimes does have as well, at least on very close maps where you can go into good positions very quickly, like Ensk. There you are going to suffer from that very long full clip reload time. Those numbers right here, I did stole them from Snoopy, the French community contributor, and you can see that with Rents you get the reload down to 13.9 seconds, and if you even use it in a boosted, 0.1 second faster, and with pink or purple Vents you can get it all the way down to 13.4 seconds, which is still slower than what the 277 or WZ-5A have base, without Vents, without rations, without a tank gun rammer. So yeah, the DPM is one of the biggest, or like the normal DPM is one of the biggest cons of this vehicle. Now let's just talk about the gun soft stats of this tank. 0.33 accuracy is superb for a heavy tank. And 1.5 seconds aim time is absolutely insane. I'm asking myself, Wargaming, why do you give it 1.5 seconds aim time? This is something the 1-2-1 would desperately need to make it unique. Give this the 1-1 as well. But 1.5 seconds aim time. This means that this tank will be fully aimed always when you start to want to clip, which is a huge advantage over tanks like the 50B. Or tanks like especially tanks like the T-57 heavy tank. They have the issue that they usually aren't that quick in aiming in after they shot. Obviously, gun dispersion is big after firing for such tanks, but still, no one can match those 1.5 seconds, especially now that if you have a hull accuracy of 0.18 and turret accuracy of 0.110. So you can see it is basically the WZ hull combined with the Kranwagen turret. Basically the best of both worlds, you could say, but the WZ always is a little bit quicker on, or better on turret traverse accuracy. But point is, the Rinoceronte aims a minimum 1 second faster than all those tanks right here, even 1.2 seconds faster than 277, with even having better accuracy of 0.33. But obviously I've thrown around some accuracies like hull and turret and stuff like this. Let's just compare it, because the AMX M4 MLE 54 has the same soft stats for the gun as we have in a Rinoceronte. Only obviously accuracy and aim time are different. So those are values for 2.2 second aim time, and you will see, yeah, when you just turn your turret, no hull movement whatsoever, you can basically say that you have those 2.2 seconds aim time. This is what we had here with nothing installed, just your crew, fully skilled crew, and your, which has brothers in arms, and obviously the other thing, which I can't remember, the accuracy skills. That's it. No other thing, no wins, no rations, no nothing. So you have those 2.2 seconds aim time, meaning for our Rinoceronte, this will be 1.5 seconds. And you can see that with a V-step, we are around, let's say, guess for 0.3 seconds faster, roughly, with the V-step, or around 0.25 seconds faster, which makes sense. Obviously, it's 25% quicker. It has 25% less bloom, and this makes sense in the end. Funny story is, the IRM, the improved rotation mechanism, actually doesn't help at all or very little. The only thing it does help you is obviously turning your hull and your turret a little bit faster, 10%. And this is why it also gives 10% better accuracy. Why? Because this negates the added bloom of the gun, because you turn your turret faster. So IRM is actually only useful if you want to really turn your hull quicker. So that was, I guess, something a little bit of issue. Oh yeah, you actually can't see it because my fat face is in the way. Yep, there you can see. 1.58 seconds versus 1.57 seconds. So, again, please keep in mind, all those numbers down here, they will be 0.7 seconds less, because that's the difference between 2.2 and 1.5 seconds. Now, how does it look with turret and hull accuracies? Yes, it is quite big. So goes here, but this is 16 times aiming. And here you actually can see that the IRM is not helping us. We have a longer aim time than with the V-step. It's only a little bit, but it is longer because you are turning your hull and your turret a little bit quicker. But, and this is very, very important, I'm pretty confident in saying that in 99% of the cases you're going to play the Rhino with a V-step. So when we now with 2.2 seconds have 3.25 seconds full aim time of full movement of the hull and full turret movement, then you will be aimed in without any issues. You will probably, again, have around 2.5 seconds actual aim time from full stop, which is tough. It is genuinely a very good value. Like, yeah, it is just very strong, and it allows you to have an effective burst of around 8 seconds, which is a lot. Yes, you can say that this T57 Heavy has 6-second burst, same as our guy, and 1600 damage in burst and not 1470. But again, keep in mind that the aim time and accuracy on the move values of the T57 Heavy are very bad. It means that you often have to aim longer than what your burst could give, especially in medium to longer distances. But even in close distances, you do have to aim fully in, and this bloats your burst by around 3 seconds, where meanwhile our Rinoceronte will have around 8 seconds true burst damage, while something like a T57 Heavy has 9 seconds of true burst damage. That is something big. That is a big, big difference. So yeah, that looks mighty strong. Added to that, you have 10 degrees of gun depression, 15 degrees of gun elevation, yeah, no one really cares about. And you have 25 degrees per second turret traverse speed. Let's compare this quickly to the other tanks, which is, yeah, it is the slowest, but only by 1 to 3 degrees per second, which is okay when you compare it to the heavies. The whole traverse is actually a little bit worse, 28 degrees versus 30, 32, and 36. This is why you might think I want to take the IRM to boost both stats a little bit. But, and again, big but, the mobility otherwise is fairly good. Go out there, play your 277, and imagine that you're capped at 50 kph, because you literally have that mobility in the Rinoceronte, which is a very good value. It's a very good value and something you need to keep in mind. It is not bad, and it's a very good heavium value. You are even 3 km/h faster than a 277 in reverse, and compared to the WZ111 5A, you should be quicker because you have better HP per ton ratio. However, your soft stats are worse, especially on soft terrain. So when you go into the valley in like Lakeville, you will be boned because you will be slow as hell. But yeah, the Kranwagen is the undisputed king under the heavies, and obviously the Progetto is the best from them all. But I have to say, I rather take 5 kph less top speed for 3 kph more reverse speed. It does help you get around the map quicker. And lastly, the survivability. This thing has only 3 crew members. Makes sense. You have 1 in the hull and you have 2 on those sides. But meanwhile, this, my head, is the gun. 2150 hit points is totally fine. Yes, it's less than Object and WZ, but then again, it is quite a bit more than what the Kranwagen has. Armor values, here we just have to do some guesstimations and wait till it comes to the common test in like update 1.11 most likely. But 390 meters of fuel range, I also did a little bit test and to see if you, for example, are using improved vents, the bond vents, have both fuel range skills, brothers in arms, and rations, you get around 451 to 460 meters of fuel range, depending what type of vents you're using. And that is just great. That is very, very good as a value because it allows you to have maximum view range with a little bit of camo braking without having to use optics, because this allows you now to use, for example, stab, vents, not in the survivability slot, because either you're going to use configuration in the survivability slot or something like the HP module, because HP modules can do some work, especially the fact that you are also having more HP on your tracks, as well as a quicker track repair time. So this can definitely help you survive here some encounters, you know. And you have to ask yourself if it is actually worth it or not. The 3 crew members, it means that the commander will have quite a lot of crew skills he has to take. Yeah. But it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Now, about the armor. Here, obviously, again, we have to do some estimations. That's it. You have to do some estimations, and we can't do anything else. It really depends. I don't think the hull will be the big problem. Lower plate, we saw it from the premium, is weak. This part right here is a little bit like the E5, most likely. This part up here will be weaker than the E5, but it has good angles, you know. After all, they did say, yo, those American heavy tanks do have those Italian heavy tanks have influence of the American tank building. The problem will be, how thick is the turret ring? Because this will probably be the main weak spot. We don't have any cupolas or anything. And if you now go into another picture, that thing right here has a pretty steep angle. Sadly, I didn't find a picture which shows it from the side properly, but it has a pretty all right steep-ish angle. The fact that this tank doesn't really have a gun breech, a gun mantlet, you know, just as this thing, which is nicely built up. Depends also how this thing right here is. Maybe it is modeled like the youuuu, so it's useless. But it really depends how this damage model is going to look. Why? It doesn't have any cupolas. That's the first big thing. Those things will most likely be around 190 millimeters thick at a quite steep angle, meaning we are most likely going to have a look or looking at 280 to maybe even 300 millimeter effective armor without any normalization, obviously. But that is a great value. This gun has 10 degrees of gun depression, so you are going to get a lot more out of those armor plates when you are using gun depression, you know. And now is the big question. How is this model? Is this part of the damage model, this hinge right here? Why? In theory it should be, because if you hit that hinge, you can't elevate your gun anymore. So it should destroy the gun in that sense, you know. But I don't really see Wargaming going to do that because, I don't know, it is hard to say how the armor model will be looking. But the base values are already pretty strong. And if we assume that those are 190 millimeter plates at a quite all right angle, this tank will be a behemoth in hull down sections. It also depends if this part up here will be part of the damage model. I highly doubt it, because why should it be, you know? A cupola is understandable, but this is just a little added thingamajings, which I don't know what it is about. The fact that this gun is, like the gun mantlet is so small, eliminates also this as a weak spot, because we're most likely going to hit the gas extrusion thing and the gun itself. So this thing looks devastating. So yeah, let's go to the conclusion, because it was a long video, but there was a lot to talk about. The Rinoceronte looks strong. The only major issues this tank has are bad heat rounds, comparable to the 277 and the WZ, and bad DPM. Again, 2000 base DPM, where the others can go up to 2600, 2700 in fear when you're using modules and stuff. It has a bad DPM. And I have to just say, the fact that this thing basically clips better than something like the Krankenwagen, you know, is hard. The fact that it clips better than a Progetto, and this was a main argument why the Progetto is super annoying to fight against, is tough. The fact that it has comparable burst potential to what a 50B or a T57 Heavy have. Sure, they have more, but the fact that this gun is so quick to aim, that is tough. That is genuinely tough. So yeah, I just think, and this is my complete personal opinion on how to make this tank a little bit more fair. Because again, we just had to guesstimate how the armor model is going to look. I think that Wargaming should maybe consider to give it 3.5 to even 4 second interclip reload, because that's still a 490 alpha gun. It has the same interclip as the freaking tier 8 heavy tank with 360, you know, with over 130 alpha more per shot. So why not give it like 3.5 second interclip and give it half a second faster reload time on all the rounds? Because again, right now you need around 51 seconds to fully reload on a base clip, you know. 50 seconds. So if you want to go into good position, like again, Ensk, you will most likely be stuck with 2 shots instead of 3, which is bad. And I might even advocate to say, maybe even think of giving it 4 second interclip to give it the option, not a good option, but the option to use burst, which will then take 8 seconds to fully conclude, which is still strong for 1470 damage, you know. But also reduce the base reload time by, I don't know, 1 second each. That would be actually a pretty decent buff for this tank. It's just, I do not mind the good gun handling. I don't mind that. That's okay. And I really want to see that kind of gun handling for the 1-2-1. Honestly, Wargaming, do that. Please, 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 please. The gun handling is trash on a 1-2-1. But the fact that this tank doesn't really have any weak spots, seeable weak spots except for the lower plate, I am very careful on saying how to properly balance this thing. Anyway, that's everything I'm having for you today. Don't forget to let me know some feedback which I can improve on. Maybe those comparisons weren't useful. Maybe you said, I don't know, that didn't really help me. Or there's other feedback you want to tell me. Don't forget to subscribe, and really important, guys, don't forget to share those videos around. Show the people out there that I'm doing new stuff and you consider this new stuff the best news around. Because for me as a student, it's very hard when Wargaming is giving out those news 3 hours before the green light is, and me as a full-time student have to somehow either skip classes or see how I can get this video out on the green light before I get swamped by other CCs which are full-time streamers, which can do the videos while they are full-time streaming and working, you know, not having a job or a study they have to do. Thank you so much. Sorry for the little rant. I see you around. Cheers and good luck on the battlefield.